think we can make a start because it's past, so I can officially just get going. I think any Kodály session has to start with singing. And my warm-up welcome song today is called Sally Bonani. Oh, and I've called it Sally Boney, so maybe I'll just go back to that so I don't notice that misprint. I've checked this presentation about 4 times and didn't notice. Never proofread something you've written is the moral of the story. So Sally Bonani is a hello song, and the emphasis in the syllables in the word change. So the first time, Sally Bonani, but the answer, Sally Bonani. And the actions will reflect where the stresses in the word actually lie. So the first action, Sally Bonani, and the answer, Sally Bonani. Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. So why don't you try the little answer that goes, Sally Bonani. Just have a listen again, I'll do it all again. Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. And then there's another half. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. You do all these bits here. Sally Bonani. I'll join in with you though. Here I go, Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. I know that if there's a Sally watching who's a friend of mine, she'll be very happy that I'm doing this song because it's one of her favourites. See if you can join in the other bit too. So the actions, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, clap. And I have to say that noise there is not my knees, it's my little tray that I'm leaning on, just in case you thought I had some wooden knees. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, clap. Sally Bonani. You know the other bit, so we'll try and put the whole thing together. Off we go, Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. Fabulous. If you've just joined us, you've kind of missed the learning of that thing, but we'll do it one last time just so that you can join in a tiny bit faster. Off we go, Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. Sally Bonani, Sally Bonani. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. Sally, Sally, Sally Bonani. Fabulous, well done. So today what I want to talk about is just a bit more of the tools of the trade, a bit more on the solfa that we introduced last week. If you were watching last week, we did Good News, Chariots Coming, and we learned those 3 pitches that are just there. Mi, re and do. I want to expand a bit on those pitches and talk a bit more about the why solfa. But I also want to just think a bit more about the philosophy of Kodály, that philosophical side. What did Kodály give us by way of guidance as to music education? So a few thoughts for us. Unaccompanied singing is best for young children. Kodály felt very strongly that the unaccompanied singing was best for a number of reasons. If we always support the children's singing with a piano, they'll never learn to sing alone. I was horrified years ago when I read in a magazine, it was one of those question answers. If you have a problem with teaching, send in your questions. And the question was, what do I do if my children continually sing out of tune? And I was horrified by the answer, play the melody louder on the piano. Completely not the solution to helping children sing in tune. So if we always continually play the melody with the children on a piano, they never learn to hear those intervals on their own. So playing louder is like putting plaster on a huge big wound. The big wound is the issue. The tiny plaster will not heal the wound. So unaccompanied singing helps children hear what those intervals are in the very simple songs that we begin with. Actually, I always felt as a music teacher too, in a classroom with children, if I'm behind the piano and the children are over there somewhere, there's a big barrier between me and the children and I can't hear. What can the children actually do? So get rid of the piano. I don't mean literally get rid of the piano, just don't use it in your music lesson with young children. If I'm on the floor playing a game with the children, walking around between, I can actually hear what can the children do? Who can sing in tune? Who's pitch matching? And then I can do something about it. So many of our accompanied commercial packages for children singing are full of this thing here. They're full of drum beats, backing tracks, etc. So much happening, so busy, that actually for the children to focus on the very thing they need to do just to sing, that it's all masked behind this wall of noise. And if we want children to sing, then the best thing we can do is just sing. An unaccompanied voice is the best for young children, without a doubt. Sing to the child, it's the only thing they hear, and they can imitate and sing back. Of course, they won't necessarily pitch match to begin with, of course they won't. But over time, with practice, they will get better. When children are very young, the simplest songs in a very limited range are vocally the best and most appropriate for our youngest children. While their vocal cords are developing, choose the simplest songs with the simplest tiny range so that it's achievable and the children can be successful. I have to say, I'm probably the same as many of you out there, challenged on this one frequently. Children will sing things in a wider range, and I think they should be allowed to, in their own time, experiment with what they can do. However, I think it's our duty as music educators to sing the things that are vocally appropriate for children. We're never going to have any control over what children do in their own life, nor should we have. They should experiment. But in the music classroom, the daily bread and butter, it's our duty to choose what's actually appropriate for the young voice. You will have noticed that most of the activities that I do are accompanied by movement and by action. Kodály said singing connected with movement and action is a more ancient and at the same time more complex phenomenon than a simple song. The connection with movement is historical. Children through years worldwide have played singing games. I remember as a child, and I'm sure many of you do, hours of enjoyment spent in the playground, skipping songs, bouncing rhymes, ball of a wall, all of these circle games that we played. Endless fun. And actually, I think it's one of the things that children today are missing in the digital world. And the connection of human beings, the eye contact made with another person when we play these games, it really can't be, I can't say it enough how important that is in the development of a child. The movement actually is also, I think, crucial for young children because they can't sit still. Actually, I have to confess, as an adult, neither can I. 45 minutes sitting on this chair is a real challenge for me. But I do get to move to play some games. But young children, Actually, in school, we frequently ask them to do the two things that they find the most challenging: sit still and listen. And those two things are actually a huge challenge for our children. So the singing games offer the opportunity to allow children to move. But actually the movement is often connected with musical learning as well. So I would like you to watch this little clip of a little friend of mine. This is Cara. Cara is 6 and she was watching the Benedetti sessions live at 12. A few weeks ago I did one on games and things, and her mum sent me this little clip. She said, Cara has never stopped singing this song since you did it at the Benedetti session. So Cara has copied what I did at the session, but she's added some verses of her own. I'd like you just to watch Cara.
Hello, today I'm going to do Long Like a Sailor. Hope you enjoy. Have you ever in your long-legged life sing a long-legged sailor with a long-legged wife? No, I've never sing a long-legged life, sing a long-legged sailor with a long-legged wife. Have you ever in your short-legged life seen a short-legged sailor with a short-legged wife? No, I've never in a short-legged life seen a short-legged sailor with a short-legged wife. Have you ever in your cross-legged life seen a cross-legged sailor with a cross-legged wife? No, I've never in my cross-legged life seen a cross-legged sailor with a cross-legged wife. Have you ever in your straight-legged life seen a straight-legged sailor with a straight-legged wife? No, I've never in a straight-legged life seen a straight-legged sailor, straight-legged wife. Have you ever in your wide-legged life seen a wide-legged sailor with a wide-legged wife? No, I've never in my life seen a wide-legged sailor with a wide-legged wife.
Go Cara, who's 6. And she created some additional verses to that little game. Kodály himself recognised that with music, we do not only learn music. And I think this is one of my favourite quotations. With music, we do not only learn music. Of course, the musical learning is really important, absolutely important. But with music, we learn more than that. And research is beginning to show us that music has an impact on children in different ways, and it may help develop other skills. Have a think about Cara's little clip there. What was Cara absolutely absorbed in? Not only the singing. This was very prevalent. Her coordination skills, superb. And actually, I really hope you were watching, because in a minute you're going to join Cara and you're going to do exactly what Cara did. So you'll have noticed that all of those actions, the basic clapping pattern was there, but all of the actions create quite a challenging coordination. And the question, have you ever, always a bit slower than the answer, which is way faster. So the coordination skills are being developed. Do we need coordination skills as a musician? I was shocked when somebody recently said to me, no, it's got nothing to do with being a musician. I think it has a lot to do with being a musician, actually. The coordination skills required for musical playing are huge. I think we could see that on Cara's face. The joy of participation in a very, very simple musical activity. And her mother tells me that she does this song all the time. So a child repeats something they enjoy. A child is happy to repeat something they enjoy. Were her language skills being developed? Yes, Cara was creating new verses for this song. I did not give her all of those verses. The straight-legged sailor, the wide-legged sailor. And her mum said there's 100 more that she could actually have recorded, that we would have gone on forever and ever. So Cara is developing the language skill, finding the words, showing the action appropriately. And language skill and music and being developed in this joyful way is so crucial. She's being creative. She was being very creative, coming up with some verses that I would never have thought of coming up with. So she's creating her addition to the song that I gave her a little seed, and she's let it grow into a huge big tree. Her memory. Can she remember what comes next? Can she remember what the actions are? Can she remember the words of the song, the melody of the song, the fact that it goes faster when we answer? The musical skills clearly being developed, the beat-keeping ability, doing all those actions, the singing in tune, her pitch matching is excellent. So the musical skills being developed as we go, faster, slower, the different tempo that she explores. Is it well-being? And I think this to me is one of the most crucial things at this particular time in this very strange world that we're living in, that music is bringing well-being to people while they're being locked down at home. I've seen so many people say that music is their salvation right now. It's a stressful time, it's a challenging time for people, and they're turning to music. And I really hope that I'm going to make a little political statement, I guess. I really hope that the politicians remember, when we go back to normal, whatever normal is, that music is a crucial part of people's life, and it has to be a core part of our curriculum for all children. We're not trying to create the world's next best solo performers, not necessarily, but if music helps the well-being of human beings and helps them to be well-rounded human beings, then that in itself is as good a reason to do it for me as any other reason. So I hope that it's remembered that music has been such a joyful thing and really a salvation for many people in this stressful time. Her numeracy skills, patterning. There was a recurring pattern throughout that song that Cara was engaging with. And her confidence, the confidence to stand up there and be recorded doing those actions. I did, of course, ask permission to show this little clip, and her mother said she would be just well thrilled that I was happy to show it to people. So now it's your turn to join Cara. You can experience what Cara is experiencing. I'm not going to lead the song, Cara is. Cara will sing, "Have you ever in your long-legged life," or whatever the version is, long-legged, short-legged, cross-legged. Cara will lead it, and then you do the answer, but be prepared because it comes twice as fast as the question. Good luck, here goes.
Hello, today I'm going to do Long-Legged Sailor. Hope you enjoy. Have you ever in your long-legged life seen a long-legged sailor with a long-legged
Your
wife?
turn.
No,
I've never in my long-legged life seen a long-legged sailor with a long-legged wife.
Have you ever in your short-legged life seen a short-legged sailor with a short-legged wife?
You got it? No, I've never in my short-legged life seen a short-legged sailor with a short-legged wife.
Have you ever in your cross-legged wife seen a cross-legged sailor with a cross-legged wife?
Your turn. No, I've never in my cross-legged life seen a cross-legged sailor with a cross-legged wife.
Have you ever in your straight-legged
In your
life
straight-legged
sailor with a straight-legged wife?
No, I've never in my straight-legged life seen a straight-legged sailor with a straight-legged wife.
Have you ever in your wide-legged life seen a wide-legged sailor with a wide-legged wife?
No, I've never in my wide-legged life seen a wide-legged sailor with a wide-legged wife. Thank you, Cara. So we're going to add another pitch to our knowledge bank now. The long-legged sailor, of course, using just mi, 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 re, do, mi, re, re, do. And I would like us now to add another pitch to those three. So, mi, re, and do. And I would like us to sing one of my favourite songs from the Shetland Islands, actually the oldest song from the Shetland Islands, Star Kavina. But we're going to sing it in solfa. I hope you can see it okay from where you are. Mi, 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 re, do, do, re. Hopefully you can see it okay. So we've got our new pitch here. Mi, mi, re, sol, mi, mi, re, sol. Maybe you can do the first line and then I'll join in with the second line. Ready and steady and off you go now. Mi, mi, re, sol, mi, mi, re, sol. Mi, mi, re, sol, mi, mi. Beautiful song from the Shetlands about the wind. And Shetland is very windy, believe me. Beautiful place. If ever you get the chance to go, the most northerly point of Scotland. It's a lovely little song. Can we try the whole thing with our hand signs? Off we go. Mi, 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 re, do, do, re. Mi, mi, re, sol. Mi, mi, re, sol. Mi, 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 re, do, do, re, mi, mi, re, sol, mi, mi. Hope you like my coordination. Tried the hand sign and turned the slide at the same time. So Kodály said, only the best is good enough for a child. Actually, it's an interesting statement, and we can analyse what did Kodály mean by the best. What is the best? I think hopefully he meant that every child deserves the best musical education that they can possibly get from the best teacher. Who is the best teacher? I have no idea. Many years ago, a young student said to me in frustration when doing an assessment, and she asked, how long did it take you to become a good Kodály teacher? And I said, I have no idea, actually, because I'm still learning. And the day I stop learning is the day I retire. When we think we know everything, it's time to give up. Because when are we ever the best? I think we can always strive to be the best teacher we can be, and I think that's the most important thing. We're constantly on a learning journey as teachers. We want to be the best we can be in order to give our children the best that they can possibly receive. I also think Kodály meant by that statement, only the best is good enough for children, the best repertoire we can find. And again, this is very controversial. What is the best repertoire? Is there only two types of music? Is there good and bad? What makes good music? What's bad music? It's such a huge debate. Kodály felt that for the younger children, the historical singing games, the songs of their mother tongue, the whole repertoire of their culture was a great starting point. I have to say, when I'm in nurseries, I've never yet heard Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses with a child who doesn't want to sing it because it's boring. Children are happy to enjoy these little gems, these little dramas that are the singing games. And for that age, I think there's no better material. A bit later, then traditional folk songs of the nation. And Kodály said each nation has a rich variety of folk songs well suited to teaching purposes. Pedagogically, we can sequence the material, the folk songs of the culture. And in this multicultural world, we have such a wide opening now to sing songs from a vast number of nations. And long, long ago in Scotland, there wouldn't have been the multicultural feel of a classroom the way there is now. And I think that offers us such a beautiful opportunity to explore and learn from each other's culture. So we can learn, of course, our own folk songs, and we're very lucky, I'm slightly biased of course, but we're very lucky in Scotland to have such a beautiful wealth of folk songs, and our young children should know those songs, should be aware of what Scottish culture is, just as in Wales, in England, in Ireland, in Australia. They should know their own culture. But in the multicultural world, I feel we should embrace and celebrate other cultures as well. So this folk song being the basis of the children's learning. Here's one of my favourites, and I apologise to the people who already know this song, but I think it's one of the best songs for teaching in a Kodály inspired way, a pedagogically sequenced way. Liza Jane has to be one of the best songs in the world because it offers so many possibilities for musical learning. It prepares so many different things. I'm sure you know it, but if you don't, it goes like this. I know a girl that you don't know, little Liza Jane, way down south in Baltimore, little Liza Jane. Oh, Eliza, little Liza Jane. Oh, Eliza, little Liza Jane. Why don't you join in the bits that go, little Liza Jane, or little Liza Jane? I know a girl that you don't know, little Liza Jane, way down south in Baltimore, little Liza Jane. Oh, Eliza, little Liza Jane. Oh, Eliza, little Liza Jane. So actually the little bits that you're joining in with show us two different little tone sets. La, so, mi, so, and mi, mi, re, do. So this is a new pitch for us from, we're building up this whole pentatonic scale bit by bit. Please, much faster than children will. What we're doing in 3 weeks is obviously going much faster than what the children will learn. And don't be tempted to rush. So let's have a look at La, so, mi, so, mi, mi, re, do. So when you're doing your little answer, can you do the hand signs as well? So I'll sing the little question, you sing the answer. Mi, 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 re, do, mi, so, so. Mi, mi, re, do, mi, so, so. Do, so, la, so. Do, so, la, so. Fabulous. So we now have built up the pentatonic scale. Can I refer just for 2 seconds back to last week's comment? Do we now put Liza Jane in the recycle bin? Yes. Please don't throw it in the trash. Put it in the recycling, because this song has so many different things. What can we teach from Liza Jane? We have that dotted crotchet quaver, dotted quarter note, yeah? Oh, Eliza. So we can prepare that. We've also got high do in there as well. We've also got syncopation. Liza Jane. We can extract all of these little things from this wonderful song. And I have to say, if I have done Liza Jane once in my lifetime, I've done it a million trillion times. It's just the best for canon singing, for learning two-part binary form, etc. Guess what? Yes, you've got it. It's a little cup game. We're not going to learn the whole thing, but I'm going to show you the bits of it so you can put it together. The bit you are going to do is this bit here that matches your little answer. little Liza Jane. Just let me show you. Tap, click, clap, click, pick up, change. Tap, click, clap, click, pick up, change. Little Liza Jane, little Liza Jane. I'm moving the cups a bit into the middle so you can see even better, hopefully. So that's your bit. I'm going to do something for my bit and just join in. If you don't have cups sitting there beside you, just do it by tapping. Little Liza Jane. Here goes. I'll go really slowly so you can pick that all up. I know a girl that you don't know, little Liza Jane, way down south in Baltimore, little Liza Jane. How did you do? But we try one more time. So my little bit, just for later, tap, clap, pick up, change, down, clap, pick up, change, little Liza Jane. Then do exactly the same on the other side. Tap, clap, pick up, change, down, clap, pick up, change, and then it goes reverse. Little Liza Jane. Let's have a go. We'll go just as slowly again. Off we go. I know a girl that you don't know, little Liza Jane, way down south in Baltimore, little Liza Jane. Second half, a bit easier really. Oh, Eliza, little Liza Jane. Oh, Eliza, little Liza Jane. I'll leave that one with you to practice during the week. Remember that this session is recorded, so you can go back and watch it again. But there's a little cup activity for you to do as and when you wish. I'll leave them there. So Liza Jane has allowed us to learn now the different pitches of the pentatonic scale, the Do pentatonic scale. Can we sing it now, just from the stick notation version that's here? Ready, steady, off you go. Mi, 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 re, do, mi, so, so. La, so, mi, so. Mi, mi, re, do, mi, so, so. Mi, mi, re, do. Do, so, la, so. La, so, mi, so. Do, so, la, so. Mi, mi, re, do. You can see, hopefully, that right here there's a little line beside the Do. This means it's in the higher octave. So when we're writing in stick notation, within the octave doesn't have the little line. When it jumps to the next octave up, we add the little line to show that it's a higher Do. So just keeping those pitches, but let's get rid of Liza Jane for a minute. There's our Do. Can you just sing in your head what I show you now? Let's remind ourselves. Do, re, mi, so, la, so, mi, re, do. Off you go. Did you hear it in your head? Kind of fundamental to Kodály's principles, the ability to hear the pitches in our head, and this is what the training leads us to do. So Kodály believed that we should read music in the same way that an educated adult will read a book, in silence but imagining what the sound actually is. So we're encouraging the children to hear those intervals in their head. Actually, there's a beautiful story of a little boy who said he loved singing, and when he was asked why did he love singing, he said because you can do it in your head. And it's kind of close music because it's right inside you. And I thought this was the most beautiful comment. And then came actually the funniest part from the child, who then said, singing inside your head is the best thing ever, because when you're bored in your mathematics lesson, you can sing inside your head and the teacher doesn't know. There's a brilliant reason to sing inside your head, because you can do this thing and nobody knows. But Kodály believed this pathway to musical literacy allows us to pick up a piece of music and hear it in our head. And this is one of the most fundamental things about the Kodály philosophy. So actually here we have extended the scale. A high do, as you can see here. Do, la, so, mi, re, do, la, so. Do pentatonic, do being the home pitch of a major key, any major key that we are in. And this is one of the things that sometimes musicians will question. Why is do the home note in some and la's the home note in other scales? Because we tend to think tonic, therefore do should always be the home note. Actually, do is only the home note of a major key. Do pentatonic here is the home note. Excuse me. If you could sing just what you see now. There's our do, off we go. Do, la, 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 do, re, mi, so, la, so, mi, la, la, do, la. We've actually gone then to the related minor key, because we've gone in now to La pentatonic. And actually when we look at the piece of music, we've got no way to know when we look at the key signature, is it a major or a minor, until we see the melody, of course. So this relation of keys, even in pentatonic, children begin to feel the relation of the one to another. And this is why relative solfa is so important, because we can immediately see this connection. If this weren't here, this little melody, and we could only see this key signature, you would have no idea if it was a major melody or a minor melody. So, la, la. Two sharps, we're in D major, or we are in B minor. Of course, when we start to look at the little melody, then you can see, actually, we're in B minor. And we only know this because we come home at the end of the phrase to B. La, do, la, re, do, la, so, la. Mi, la, so, mi, re, mi. Mi, la, so, mi, re, mi. Do, do, la, re, do, la, so, la. You can feel that it's a minor melody. However, if we look at it from the very beginning there, do is still in the same place. Do is still D, but the melody doesn't come home to do. The melody comes home to La. So children can begin to feel this relationship of one key to another very, very easy and simply. Actually, this is the best tool ever, as we talked about last week. Their ability to hear that thing. La. I wish I had a ledger finger. If somebody can create a ledger finger, it would be the best thing ever. So there's do here. Many years ago when I was teaching, I asked the children, it was actually, we were in G flat major, and I asked what the related minor key would be, and she did the dutiful thing and went down 3 semitones and arrived 50-50 chance of getting it right, and she arrived at D sharp. The related minor must be D sharp, but of course we know that obviously it's not. It's not, the related key would be E flat, but had she done the do to la thing, it's immediately visible what the related minor key actually is. So if we're on la, which would be below my ledger finger, do is the related key, la. And you can feel this pull towards coming home, that the melody is la centered. So please don't think we come home to do in a minor key. We don't. And this is what later makes modes so understandable, that we come home to different pitches. So let's have a sing at this little melody. La is our starting pitch. And we're in 5/8. 1, 2, 3, up we go. Wow, that was a rubbish counting. I'll try again. 1, 2, 3, ready, go. La, do, la, re, do, la, so, la. Mi, la, so, mi, re, mi. Mi, la, so, mi, re, mi. Do, la, re, do, la, so, la. It looks like I'm going to flick you into something that bears no relation to that little melody, but actually it does. I've been really quite kind to you here. These little blue shapes have 5 sides, funnily enough, because they're a 5/8 melody, and the shape actually, hopefully, will help you learn the little pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then we have a little square. The little square is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and straight on each time. Can we try it from the very beginning? It does have a connection to the song we've just done, and we will go back and put that whole thing together. Are we ready on our first shape? 1, 2, 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Here's a square. Look how many pentagons we have now. Another one, and then a square. If I take this away, can you remember what the shapes are? So actually, looks like a pentagon really, doesn't it? And looks a bit like a square. So hopefully you'll remember, because actually what happens in this beautiful little Hungarian melody, the 5/8 bars, we're going to accompany with la, do, la, re, do, la, so, la. But in the original melody, we then have a repetition of this pitch twice in the 4/8 bar. La, la. So whatever the phrase ends on, we add another little bar that goes la, la. So this whole thing will be la, do, la, re, do, la, so, la, la, la. And likewise with the next one. Mi, la, so, mi, re, mi, mi. Let's try from the very beginning. 1, 2, 3, up we go. La, do, la, re, do, la, so, la, la, la. Mi, la, so, mi, re, mi, mi. Mi, la, so, mi, re, mi. Do, la, re, do, la, so, la, la, la. I'll leave you to work on that one. So why this relative solfa thing? Can we just have a couple of thoughts about why it's so important? One of the most important things for me is that it gives the pitch a function within the scale. And we will talk about this a bit more next week, because next week I want to look at some things harmonically, as well as just looking at the melody, some diatonic music and some harmonic thinking. It gives the function of the scale, do being the home note in a major key, and La being the home note in a minor key. And this is one of the most important things I think about the use of solfa, the function within the key. Of course, Kodály didn't create that thing. It stems right back to 11th century and the hymn to St. John, ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la. And this at the end isn't a solfa name, and later was added the T. Ut que hat laxis, the ut being do, re son re fibris, re being here. So actually the beginning of all the words being the initial solfa. So it stems right back to 11th century. Kerwin from England popularised solfa, of course, and Sarah Glover, and the hand signs came into play. And this was what we in school did as Kerwin notation, the dots and the dashes. And frequently the dots and the dashes were there, but the stave wasn't actually there. It was just the dots and the dashes. A much cheaper way to print music, of course, than 5 lines. But over time, Kodály has taken this tool and used it and taught in a very different way. The preparation for those sounds, very different to the way we were taught Kerwin in school. The sun is shining. I hope it doesn't spoil my screen. You can see it now. Solfa reduces all scales to a common pattern, regardless of the key, regardless of the clef. And this is such an important thing. We don't have to memorize lots of different patterns. If we know the solfa pattern for any of the scales, regardless of the key we're in, the sound remains the same. So actually, if we're singing Good News Chariot's Coming, mi, 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 re, do, mi, treble clef, D major. But if we're in alto clef, and we know that there's your mi, there's your mi, if we know this is mi, it doesn't really matter what clef we're in. We just know the patterns here and the pitches associated with them. Mi, 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 re, do, mi. So it reduces everything to quite a simple pattern. And next week we'll talk about modulation as well. So actually when we learn the pattern and we move into a new key, it reduces everything to a much more simplistic way to think about music, but a much more crucial way in that the function of the solfa is an aid to understanding the music. It aids understanding of transposition. Liza Jane is on that presentation in stick notation with the solfa written underneath. At some stage, why don't you just go and try and play that in different keys? You can write it on a postage stamp in solfa, take it with you, put it in your pocket. Thinking in solfa, for me, has helped with transposition over years. Just some final thoughts of Kodály's as to why solfa. Solemnization ensures singing in tune for a singer and playing in tune for one who plays an instrument with flexible intonation. That is kind of crucial, and we talked last week about if you can hear it in your head, if you can hear what you're trying to achieve, then it affects your tuning when you play. But Kodály takes it a bit further. But even pianists, although they can't change the pitch, will touch a key differently if they know the significance of the note in the given tonality. So if the pianist understands through the solfa the function of the pitches they're playing, they understand the music better, then they have a different feel for the piece that they're actually playing. This quotation here perhaps is one of my favourites, this one. The aim of solfege is not only musical literacy, but informed reading which gives every word its own weight, but not at the expense of the sentence. And one thing I would guard against, one thing I would as a teacher guard against, that sometimes the solfa becomes an exercise that bears no connection to the actual music. And it should never become an exercise. It should never become a word at the expense of the sentence. What is the most important thing for everything we do is the music. And the Kodály way for me everything kind of stems from the music. The children learn the simplest of folk songs. It stems from the music, and the solfa gives them an understanding then of the music they play and a greater love of the music. So it literally comes from the music and goes back to the music, because everything we do should be about the music at the end of the day. Does anyone have any questions? Because there endeth today's lesson. I'm just going to come a bit closer and see if there are any questions. So much. Yes, we can all improve our musical understanding and how it works. Yeah, absolutely right. And you're never too old. Jane Murphy, thank you for the comment. You're never too old actually to see music in different ways. Solfa has absolutely helped me to see music and feel music in different ways. I can't see many questions now. They may have been coming in while I was talking. I'm really sorry. I'm kind of on a roll of chat, and I wasn't watching for questions, partially because I was a bit too far away to see what was coming up on that iPad. If you do have any questions, then what I would say is fire them on here, and I genuinely will try to answer. Oh, Roseanne said someone was asking if it's movable do. Absolutely is movable do, and that's what we are tackling next week when we modulate do moves place. So I will talk about that one next week. What would be the best resource specifically about solfa and connecting to transposing? Kodály inspired education would be my short answer to that. Learn more about the philosophy, become more familiar with the tools of the philosophy, and you'll begin to just think in solfa. If you're a musician coming to this for the first time, it may feel a bit like a double translation, that you can hear what's on the page, therefore why do I need to give it a name? I would answer two things to that. One, give it a name means give it a function, and two, look to the broader skeleton framework that Kodály provides for all children, not just innately musical children. So even if you yourself feel, I can hear what's on the page anyway without the solfa, I would still recommend you delve into what other aspects solfa can give, but also from for a teaching tool for all children. I'd love to know if you could share the lyrics and part of your presentation so that my brain can remember them. I would love to, but I'm not sure how to do that. I know this recorded session will go out there and be kept for a while, but I'm not sure exactly how to share the words or the text with you. If anybody has any ideas, please let me know. I'm very happy to, of course. Until which grade is Kodály for? Until grade 100 years old and above. I think we never stop learning in the Kodály way. I know I never stop learning, and I'm sure everybody else would say the same thing who's involved. I have a solution for your ledger finger. Oh, yes! And I have a phone number to find what the solution is for my ledger finger. I hope it doesn't involve surgery, Brian. That would be very painful. Thank you for that. How do you say in Kodály the rhythm dotted quaver to semi-quaver? Various countries have their own ways to say that thing. We in this country call it temri, the M being the dot. I know in Australia they call it timka. So there are variations in how we say these things over the world. Are the songs in specific books? Oh, there are so many books that I couldn't possibly mention them all. But there are a variety of Kodály books. I might log on and give you some answers to that. I'll answer that in your comments. So thank you, folks. If there are any more questions, please make the comments online or after this presentation, and I will try my very best to answer them all. I truly will. 45 minutes is just such a short time to fire your information, but I hope you're finding it useful, and I hope I see you next week. Take care, have a great week, and enjoy everything that the Benedetti Foundation has to offer you. There are so many things, it's just all so exciting. Thank you for watching. Bye.